thank you so much for joining us today for the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Here on the Pastor's Potluck, it's similar to a normal potluck where you might get something that you want and there may be something that you just want to pass up altogether. And that's okay. There's something here for everybody. Our goal here is to encourage you and maybe in the process entertain you. If you're ready, let's dig in. Welcome to another episode of the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Yep, it is, dude, it's literally like a couple days away.
Is this the Friday before Christmas episode?
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's this Friday. That's today.
That is today.
For everybody that's listening, they're like, what are these guys talking about? Well, little secret, we pre-record these, obviously, so we can make sure it's all sounding good and edited for your consumption. But talking about consumption, oh my gosh, I am stuffed.
I am too.
We had Olive Garden for lunch.
Yes.
And never-ending soup and breadsticks.
The breadsticks are what took everyone over the top because we got the dipping sauces.
Yeah.
That right there made a huge difference.
Yes.
Because I really don't mess with the bread very much. Like, I might be a one breadstick per trip. It was 3 today, but I just love Alfredo sauce probably more than I like breadsticks.
Yeah.
But you can't just eat the Alfredo sauce. That's weird.
Yeah, you can't just eat it like with a spoon.
Yeah, you have to use the breadsticks, so therefore I ended up having to have 3 breadsticks to have the amount of Alfredo sauce that I wanted.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit lethargic right now. But I'm still I like talking about our topic today, so.
Yeah, no, this is good. So we're talking about movies, obviously, Pastor Scott. If you've listened to any of his sermons, he references movies and television shows a lot, and always somehow tries to find some connection or correlation with the gospel message. And so he's a movie aficionado. Like, you're a buff. I wouldn't say like quite on the critic level, but you enjoy movies.
Yeah.
Which we know that about you, which is awesome. You have an outlet, you have a way to just get away, and it's easy, and it's not like it's not expensive.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not a bad,
not
a bad hobby.
Not with the unlimited pass.
Yeah.
You can go see movies, and then all the streaming channels that we have movies. So, yeah, it's a nice outlet. But like the movie thing is super helpful because I wasn't born naturally as a reader.
Yeah. And
honestly, to be good at content creation, like, which is what sermon preparation and stuff is, you have to have some sort of outlet to get content in. It's the way content can come out. Yeah. Because I'm not much of a reader. Like, I read more now than I ever did, but it's still not at the level. Like, I know people that can like crank out a book a day or a book a week. Like, yeah, I might do that every once in a while, but it's not like a consistent thing. So I get a lot of input through movies and television shows because that's just always been my thing. And so as much as I like watching movies and things, it's somewhat of a discipline because I know that like I'm going to get sermon content out of it. Like, I'll have random notes in my phone. Like, if I'm watching a movie or something, a character will say something or something happens in a movie like that. I'm like, oh man, that's perfect. Yeah. I'll like jot a note down, or sometimes I'll just pray that I remember what it was. And then every once in a while, just like, I've got something that's coming up or a sermon that's coming up, and I'll be trying to think. So the way that I process it is, if I can't figure out a personal story to tell, then I'll go to that library of movies and television shows and things like that. Because I'm always trying to find things that will intersect with people's human experience to get them to lean into what's actually important. Like what I have to say about movies isn't important.
Yeah, it's a great connection point, but it also like does a couple of things too. Like it tears down like any kind of like walls that somebody may have up to receive what you were preaching or talking on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I remember seeing that movie.
Oh yeah, I've seen that movie.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that or whatnot. The other thing, like, I guess I probably always had this thought about pastors growing up that they probably didn't watch like movies or have anything that's really fun in their life. Like I guess I just always, not that I ever had that experience, I just kind of always thought that like, oh, I bet they don't really like have time for that. Or
they just read the Bible all day.
Yeah, they just read the Bible all day and visit people in hospitals and all this. So it's also another way that like people will go like, oh, like Scott like watches movies like he's like a normal person as well. So it does all of that, but like it helps break down that wall. And like a personal story for me is the number one connector in sermons.
Yeah.
But if I don't have that, I can't very well fabricate that.
Yeah. You're like, I've never broken into somebody's house and had like this little kid terrorize me with a whole bunch of booby traps.
Yeah,
like in Home Alone.
Yeah, so you can't fabricate it. And so then what? Like some pastors are very gifted at using like illustrations, as far as there's like these big books of illustrations, or like you can look them up online. They're just like these like very general stories that don't have like any real characters. Like some people are very gifted at using that. That is one way to also accomplish it.
Yeah.
It's not for me though. Like another way that people will do it is like through historical things. Like they'll find an intersection of history and what they're trying to get to find, because they don't have that personal story.
Yeah.
For me, it's TV and movies. If I can find that, then I can find common ground with the audience that goes, oh, okay. So like this past week, we were talking about Ruth, and there's a part in Ruth in chapter 4 where this guy has the option to redeem the land that she's kind of attached to, and if he will do that, then he has to marry her as well. And so when he only knows about the land, he's like, yeah, I want the land. That's a good business. And then when Boaz is like, no, but this lady comes with it, you got to marry her. He's like, no, I don't want her.
Yeah.
And like you start thinking, man, like, what do I don't have that experience. Like, and not that I've never been unwanted. I'm certain I have been.
Yeah.
But like, I don't have that, like, none of my parents like abandoned me when I was a child or anything like that to really. And there are some people that if that was their story, they could have preached that differently. But for me, it didn't. So I'm just sitting here trying to rack my brain, like, how do I get to this point of being unwanted if I don't really have anything? And so I go, out of nowhere. I say out of nowhere. It's like, no, this is how God speaks to me. Honestly, it's like, hey, do you remember that stupid movie Rudolph that's like horrible from like the 50s?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very old. And like if you watch it, you can tell it's really old. The sound is bad, the quality is bad, the story is bad. Like all of it is just horrible. But I hadn't seen it so long. I'm going, I think that's what that movie was about. So I'll have to go and watch it. And then I see, Rudolph was unwanted, Hermie was unwanted, all these toys were unwanted. Mm-hmm. Boom, that's my in to get to that tension point of like asking the audience, hey, have you ever felt unwanted? It's the same thing this week. I was sitting here trying to think of a story about how, have I ever like had to go above and beyond to try to get to somewhere that I was trying to get? Like if, I don't know, Megan was somewhere and I was broke down, but it was our anniversary and I needed to get there. Like, do I have a story like that where I would just like, come hell or high water, I was going to make it back to the one that I love?
Yeah.
I don't really have that story. Like, I don't have anything like that. So I start like racking my brain, and the movie that I originally thought of was I'll Be Home for Christmas. You remember that Jonathan Taylor Thomas movie? So I started to watch it last night because I was like, I'm going to use this. And then I thought, I don't really think anyone really knows this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that's kind of lame. So I settled on Home Alone because this happened. And again, this is like my life. That like, this is the stuff that, unless I share it on a podcast or just talking to friends or whatever about it, nobody would ever know. That like when I laid down to go to sleep last night, the Lord like tapped me on the shoulder and goes, hey, wake up, get your phone, and write down everything that I'm getting ready. And so I have a note on my phone that happened at like 11:30 at night when I laid down for bed about how Home Alone is going to intersect with our Christmas text this weekend, and like all these different leading questions and thoughts and everything that now I just have to take into my office and put into a sermon. And that happened at 11:30 last night in my bed, and it's pitch dark in there. Like when I lay down, I turn the TV on. I watch TV until I start falling asleep. Then I'll pop up, turn it off. It happened after that.
Yeah,
so I've had TV time. I'm now laying in the dark. This is the end of my night. And it's like, hey, pick up your phone. Because if I don't pick up my phone, the Lord will give me something like that.
Yeah.
And I'll wake up and I'll come in here. This has happened to me
Thinking
before.
I'll remember it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'll remember it, Lord. And I'll show up the next morning and it'll be gone.
I've done that too.
It will be gone. I'll go, no, but I had my sermon done. It was up here in my head. I didn't.
Yeah.
And if I didn't. So last night I was like, I'm not going through that because I really want to write this sermon because it's the week of Christmas and I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to get everything ready for Christmas Eve so I can get into the full holiday spirit. Because even though like it is Christmas time, the week of when I have to preach until the sermon's done, like I'm just going to be kind of on edge until it's done. Like it feels like that weight just. And so like that's one of the reasons, even though I like movies as an escape and a respite from life, it also like it is one of the things that fuels, my content creation and my ability to connect with an audience. And so, it's something that I think God uses in some way because, Sunday I'm going to talk about Home Alone. I
and the gospel.
Yeah. I can't imagine that there's going to be anyone in that room that doesn't know.
Yeah.
And then when you can make them feel what Kevin's mom felt, then all of a sudden you now have a much more ripe heart to deal with whenever you get to the actual Home Alone's not the point, but now when you watch Home Alone, you're going to think, my goodness, what she did for him is what God did for me. When Rudolph comes across, you're now this is giving these people these things that when you see Rudolph, you go, yeah, he was unwanted, but God I'm reminded that God wants me.
Yeah.
Like that God chose me, that God loves me. Like I can now have all these like little markers in people's life that when they hear it, when they see it, they think of that sermon and they're reminded of God's love in all these weird different ways.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I don't know. God, this is the beautiful thing about God, that no matter whatever it is that he calls you to, I didn't know this early on in ministry. This is what I've grown into, is that however God wired you, what will be fine for whatever he's called you to. You don't have to be like somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, so if you're not a natural avid reader, you don't have to go and like try to force yourself. Yes, you should read books. Like if you're in content creation, you should be a reader.
Yeah.
I am a reader. I read books. Okay. But just not like some people. But like God will use this thing about me that is, and it's incredible. Like he does that for everyone. Like you don't have to fit into a certain mold to be, like everyone else to do something. Like God can work with whatever it is that he's already given you to accomplish something.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this whole movie and TV thing is for me, is like God just going, okay, I see how you're wired. I see how you are. And I can use that as a way to help people come to know me.
Yeah. You mentioned something earlier, and you said that you just didn't. You had to fight, almost essentially just fight to get through it. And that was that Rudolph, old 1940s, 50s, claymation. I don't get the whole. I don't get that genre of movies, and people go nutso for them. Like the old Christmas claymation stuff.
I think it's just a nostalgia. Like, I don't think anyone ever
it's creepy.
Thinks that it's good. I think it's just nostalgic. If that's what you grew up in or grew up with, then I think that's what it is.
It's one of the things I don't. It's like we're going to talk about some of our favorite Christmas movies, but I can appreciate the amount of work that goes into it because I think it's super finely detailed, and just having to move things millimeters at a time and take another picture and just constantly playing out like the whole scene or whatever. But there is just something that is just creepy about claymation movies. It just it's almost like nails on a chalkboard for me.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily enjoy the movie. I just knew that a lot of people had seen it.
Yeah.
At the very least, people had heard the song.
Yeah.
And so you can play on that as well.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like that. Like, in fact, I tried to get my whole family to watch it with me.
Yeah.
And the kids were immediately out. And I think probably within even a quarter way through the movie, Megan was off to something else. And it was just me watching this old Rudolph movie. And it's somewhat checked out because I even had to go back and rewatch the ending the next day.
Yeah.
To check my facts before, because I don't want to and that's why I go back and watch it as part of sermon preparation, because I don't want to go in and have the details wrong or something.
Yeah.
So I was so checked out of it, I missed the ending, which there is a redeeming part of the whole story at the end. So I had to go back and watch it. Yeah. No one in our house enjoyed it very much. We're on a Harry Potter kick right now.
Yeah.
Because there's always a Christmas scene in it. We just always treat those like Christmas movies.
Yeah.
So we're like halfway through the fourth one right now, and so we'll get all the way through all of them by the end of Christmas Day. But we watch a lot of Christmas movies.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, it's every night at least one, unless we got something going on in the evenings.
Yeah. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
My favorite Christmas movie is It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
But nobody ever watches it with me, so I don't really watch it very often.
Black and white. I did read I've never seen it, but I did read the synopsis on it.
Yeah, I watched the black and white. When I've seen the colored one, I don't care either way.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I preached a whole sermon series on it too. I have a whole series about discouragement.
Yeah.
Essentially, which is something everyone faces around Christmas time for many different reasons, whether it's because you have family issues or you have money issues or it's the end of the year and you didn't get where you thought you were going to go. Issues like discouragement's a big issue for people around Christmas time, and that's what that movie is really about. Is like there's a part at the beginning where these, like it looks like these stars are talking and they're meant to be angels or whatnot, and they're asking like the whole premise is that like angels will go to people that are in trouble to help them get out of tough situations, and they're like, oh, George Bailey needs an angel, and they're like, why? What's wrong with him? Is he sick? I think that's what the line is. Is he sick? And the elder angel responds like, no, even worse, he's discouraged. And so it starts showing you his life and how like his life started out as one thing. He had all these big hopes and dreams, and they just never panned out.
Yeah,
because he was just being faithful to his family and to the business that his dad started, and it like almost like life was just passing him by, which I think that is a message that a lot of people probably feel.
Oh yeah.
Like that you're just saddled into the job, into the family, into the place where you're at, and it just feels like life is passing you by, and sometimes you can get into that place of discouragement and discontentment because you don't have enough perspective to go like, oh, wait a second, like
yeah,
maybe I'm making a bigger difference, because then that's what happens is what the angel that comes to visit him ends up doing is showing him a version of the world when he's not in it.
Yeah.
And he begins to realize like what a difference he is making and what a wonderful life he really does have, even though it looks like he's stuck in his old crummy house and he missed out on investment opportunities and he never got to travel the world like he wanted to. Yeah. He never got to go off to college like he wanted to. Like he's just doing all this. He never got to do what he wanted to do, but he couldn't get enough perspective to see like, hey, you have a house, you have a wife, you have kids, you have this business that it makes a difference in people's lives, even though it's kind of like so monotonous and like seems so small to you. Mm-hmm. And like it's such a beautiful like reminder of like if that feels like you, that like you got to get some perspective to see man, like you really do have a wonderful life, even if it doesn't feel like it every single moment as you're going through the monotony of it.
Yeah. Any other favorites that you have?
Yeah, I like all the classics. Like we love Home Alone 1 and 2.
Yes.
I think my kids and Megan probably like 2 better than 1.
Yeah.
I think I like 1 better than 2.
I like them both equally.
I
the same.
really like them though. They're really funny. Like,
Yeah.
They're really, really funny.
I remember watching it for the first time with my kids like several years ago, and it literally takes forever to get to like the good part.
It does.
Like you literally go like an hour and 20 minutes, and the movie is like an hour and 35 minutes
Yeah.
long to get to like, you know, the part that I was always so excited to see whenever I was a
Yeah.
kid. And then whenever you go a decade or two in between watching it, you're like, holy cow, was it always this long to get to like the really fun part of the movie?
Yeah, I love Home Alone. I love Elf.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know anyone that doesn't love Elf. That has like the most classic one-line phrases in that. One that's maybe off the beaten path. I love the movie The Mistletones. It's about like a singing competition at Christmas time. It's got like I think it's Tia Mowry in it, and one other big time actress is in it. I really like that movie a lot.
Now, question. This has been like a hot topic of debate for years. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
All right, I finally feel like I'm allowed to speak to this.
Yeah.
Because I'd never had seen it until 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I still haven't seen the ending. So they reissued Die Hard at the movie theater.
Yeah,
You could use your unlimited pass to go see it. And I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going to go settle this debate on whether it's a Christmas movie or not. So I went and watched it. But I got about 3/4 of the way through, and some dude decided to act all creepy in the middle of the movie, and I just got up and left.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird. Like,
You told me about it.
yeah, like 2 people sitting in a theater, and you come and sit right next to me. So I was like, bro, I'm out of here. Like, I'm not dealing with that. Like, so I still haven't seen the ending.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's on a streaming channel so I can finish it. But I actually do think that it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's set at a Christmas party. I don't know how you wouldn't consider it a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
And I like some of the shows that I've always liked, like especially like cop shows. There's always like a cop that's like obsessed with that movie.
Yeah.
And I was always like, really? Like, is it like, it's really that? Or like even, I think it's The Office. On the last season of The Office, or the second last one of them, there's Pete is obsessed with that movie, and he can quote it word for word.
Yeah.
And I've always like, it always shows up culturally, and I'm like, I've never even seen it. Like,
Yeah.
I remember I worked at a movie theater when I think it was the 3rd or the 4th Die Hard came out, and I watched it.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any context for it because I'd never seen any of the
first
previous
one.
stuff.
Yeah.
But I really loved that movie. Like, I thought, yes, now I understand all the hype. Like, it
Yeah.
really was enjoyable until that creep sat down next to me.
Yeah. I'm sorry that happened. Did I ever tell you about my creep story in a movie theater?
I don't think.
So we were at the movie theater one time, and this guy, same situation. I think it was me and my brother, and we went and watched a movie. There's nobody else in there. This guy sits down right in front of us, and he's got a backpack, and we just hear like this rustling, you know, like kind of like plastic shuffling around or whatever. And he's opened up his backpack, and dude's the plastic that we hear rustling. I kind of lean forward, and I go, holy crap, this dude's got a loaf of bread. And then we hear like another thing, like freshly open, like, you know, what it sounds like to open up a bologna packet. But here's the kicker. So we get this sound too. The dude has a jar of mayonnaise. He's got mustard. He's got a butter knife, and he's got his whole kitchen inside of his backpack. Dude's just sitting around making all this noise, making a sandwich, and you can't even pay attention because
Yeah.
you're like, I'm so engrossed with what's happening. Like, oh, what is he putting on this sandwich this time? Like, dude brought pickles. Like, what are you doing? like
Yeah.
it was weird. It was really weird. But
Yeah. Well, this guy didn't. I would have felt better if this guy had sandwich stuff. This guy was just like wiggling all around and kept like rocking in his seat and kept messing with his phone. And he came in like 3/4 of the way through the movie.
yeah.
Like he hadn't been there the whole time. And there's me and one other person in here.
Yeah.
And like he looks at that guy when he walks in, looks at me, and when he sees me, he comes up and sits literally like 2 seats away from me. I'm like, what in the world? So it was creepy. But Megan and I had also just watched a documentary about the Aurora, Colorado shooting at a movie theater.
Yeah.
So I'm texting Megan. I'm going, dude, here's what's going on. This is like creeping me out. She said, get out of there right now. Like, seriously, get out.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's probably reasonable. Like this, it was very weird.
Yeah.
So I just bounced.
Yeah.
I was like, I can watch the end of Die Hard some other time.
You can probably find it on YouTube.
Yeah, it was very upsetting, but I do think Die Hard's a Christmas film.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's just like anything that has anything to do around Christmas time. It doesn't even have to have a Christmas theme. Like, obviously the theme in Home Alone is like, getting back and being around family, and that's what it's all about, whatever. But even if it's just like an event that's happening and it's around Christmas time, I think that's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, I mean, that's what a lot of, unless you're dealing with like elves and Santa and reindeer, like everything is that.
Yeah.
Everything is just a regular movie at Christmas time.
Yep.
Right? The only, unless you're dealing with like a Jesus movie or a Santa Claus movie, everything is just a regular movie at Christmas time.
Yeah.
That's what makes it a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So that would check the box for Die Hard.
Yeah.
That's what like all of those Hallmark movies are Christmas movies, simply because those love stories are happening at Christmas time.
Yeah.
In the same little village where the big city lawyer comes for a bit of respite and meets the baker. Like, how many times can you retell that story? My goodness gracious. Like,
yeah.
But I don't know. I love Christmas movies. I didn't really used to like Christmas movies, but again, I've already talked about this on the podcast. Like, my love for Christmas has just changed and continues to just blossom. Like, even though the older I get, the older my kids get, the more important all of it is for me. So
I think I was talking with Erica about this, and she's like, man, it's just like every year for you, it's always like a hassle and I said I think it's just a culmination of a lot of things, just because living in an apartment for so stinking long and not being able to decorate it. Like, I want to be able to do those things. And so I told her, I was like, I bet you next year, like, my attitude completely changes about Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Because being able to do the things that you want to be able to do, but not have the money or the time or whatever, or the resources to be able to do those things, it could be a huge downer.
Absolutely.
And so, like, whenever things are looking up and you have the ability to be able to decorate or to have friends over, or to be able to maybe go a little bit above what you would normally do to buy gifts for your family.
Yep.
Like, that makes it a lot easier to tolerate and to swallow. But obviously not everybody's in that situation or in those or walking in those shoes because of the economy that we have right now, or just whatever you have going on in your life. Like, it could be an easily just not a fun time.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the very, very, very cheap ways of being able to get plugged into the Christmas spirit and being more engaged with what's going on with your family and your friends and your the people that you go to church with and whatnot, is because most of these streaming platforms, like you said, television has always got these Christmas shows to do it, and it's an easy way and very,
100%.
very, very cheap way to get into the Christmas spirit.
Yeah. I mean, like, do you like the Santa Claus movies?
Loved them.
What's your favorite one?
The first one.
Yeah, me too. My kids hate the first and second one and only like the third one.
That's wrong.
Yeah. That's I won't watch the third one.
That's like saying you like Home Alone 3 better than 1 and 2.
Yeah, the third one is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it ruined the franchise, like, as far
Yeah.
as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And because the first two were, well, the first one was good. The second one was mediocre. The third one is just awful.
Yeah.
But the first one, when it came out,
Yeah.
like, it was like, I couldn't get enough of it. It was so good.
Yeah. Dude, you know it's another movie that I really enjoy, but God almighty, I wish that they would just redo it, is The Polar Express.
Oh,
because the motion capture and stuff like that and the special effects throughout the whole movie, it's just so dated.
I did not like that movie when it came out.
Yeah.
I did not understand it as a kid.
Yeah.
And I know it's intended for kids. Like, I did not get it.
Yeah.
As an adult, I really liked that movie.
Yeah.
But I also don't understand why it is so creepy.
It's just the technology. They were trying to do something that had never been done.
Yeah.
Or that hadn't been done well.
Yeah.
Because there's been a whole bunch of movies that used motion capture technology where they put like the little white dots all over, and then they have all these cameras that are on every single angle to capture the emotions and stuff like that. But the technology was just not there to make it look good.
Yeah,
I wish that they would just like strip it back and just keep it the exact same, but just update the stinking special effects.
Yeah, I do like it now as an adult, but I did not when it first came out. I didn't watch it from the first time I saw it. I didn't watch it again until I was a grown adult with kids.
It's got the best soundtrack of any Christmas movie.
And I still think that it's kind of creepy. Just I think the characters are somewhat creepy. Like the elves are somewhat creepy.
Yeah.
Like all of it, I don't know. I don't know why it's like that. But and like the guy that's up on the roof of the train, like there's a lot of that. I just like I don't know. But what about the Grinch? Where are you at on the Grinch? All the different iterations of it.
I think that there's a reason why the Grinch is still popular today, and that's because Jim Carrey, whenever they redid it and it was all practical effects and everything like that, you see clips of this going viral every single year, and I guess it's owned by Universal Studios or something.
I think so.
And so they always have some guy that's dressed up as a Grinch that's just heckling people and making fun of certain things. And you see these little videos that people are posting, and I just it's a good Christmas movie.
Yeah, like I still love the original.
Yeah,
but the Jim Carrey is just incredible. But the one that they just came out with, the most recently, I think actually we went to IHOP during that time together. I remember that.
Yeah,
it was that recent. That movie is fantastic as well. Yeah, I think those are all the big guns. Like Grinch,
Elf obviously is a good one.
Yeah, Elf is so funny.
Now there's a couple of movies that I've got downloaded, and I'm gonna make it a point to watch them over the next couple of days and through next week, since we have next week off. And that's It's a Wonderful Life. That one, Miracle on 34th Street.
I've never watched it.
Yeah,
my sister loves it. I've never watched it.
I want to watch that one, and then I want to watch White Christmas.
Never watched it either, but Jessica also is obsessed with that movie. I was just thinking about one there a second ago, and now it is escaping me.
Because I feel like I've watched a lot of the good, like the
the
from
Star.
the 80s.
If you're looking for a good Jesus one,
The
Star is awesome.
Really?
Yeah, it's a cartoon. Like, it's great for families. It's a cartoon about a little donkey that, like, at the beginning of the movie, you find out he has this wish to be part of the royal caravan and, like, be part of the one that, like, and he ends up at the stable when Jesus is born at the end.
Yeah.
And all it's very good. They did a really nice job with the Chosen Christmas stuff is really good too. Yeah. It's in theaters, I think, or at least it was. It might be already on the streaming platform by now, but The Chosen does great stuff too. But
all right, mystery meat time.
We did it.
Let's see if we can make this Christmas. This is all right. We'll leave it as is. What is one thing you would change about your daily routine? I already know mine.
What?
Commuting. If I could change that, I hate driving. I spend so much time in the stinking car driving my kids to school and coming back to work, and then going from work to school to my house. It's just I'm easily 2 hours and 45 minutes in the car every single day.
Yeah,
I'm over it.
I don't necessarily like driving either, but I enjoy music and podcasts so much that like I don't mind. But I also have a moderate commute. Like I'm 25 minutes both ways.
Yeah, I'm an hour and 20 minutes from leaving my house to dropping the kids off at school and then making it to work.
Yeah.
And God forbid I have to go pick up something or like some new like instrument cables or something.
Yeah.
And I have to get back in the car and drive some more.
Yeah, so I don't mind my commute. I don't know about my daily routine. One of the things I am going to try, me and Will just talked about this at lunch, is that we're going to start going to the gym together in January. And I'm hoping that will be a new routine for both of us to do that together.
I'm saving up to do I'm going to refit my garage and because we have a big 2-car garage now. So one half of it, I'm gonna buy some weights and do all that stuff at my house.
Yeah.
Because once I got it, I don't have to pay for it anymore.
Yeah.
And you know me, dude. I'm so cheap and frugal.
Yeah.
Like if I don't have to spend money on it, then like I hate the reoccurring bills that happen all the time.
Yeah. So I told him I'm gonna up my Planet Fitness account to the next one where I get to bring a guest.
Yeah.
And so
he's gonna go halvesies on it.
No, he's just gonna be my guest.
Oh.
It's only like $10 a month. So I'm going to get him to be my guest.
You go to the one in Cross Lanes?
I probably will. I wish that they would build one up here close to the church.
Yeah, what they need to do is take that old Toys R Us and make it a stinking Planet Fitness.
If there was a Planet Fitness out here that I could like leave work like in the middle of the day, pop over, do my thing, and come, I would probably be in way different shape than I am right now. But
yeah, they're just not
I used to be able to get to
located.
the gym. Like, so COVID messed everything up. But before that, and my kids' schedule were different, they had to go to school at 7 instead of 8.
Yeah.
I could drop them at 7, and then I had 2 hours before I had to be at work.
Yeah.
So I always had time to go to the gym and shower and then get to work by 9 o'clock. But now that they have to be there at 8,
yeah,
and I'm kind of like a creature of habit. Like, I'm very aware of the fact that I could show up here whenever I want, really, if I wanted.
Yeah.
But, like, I also know if I show up at 10, then I'm going to have to stay even longer, and I don't want to do that, and I also don't want to work out in the evenings. So this new school schedule post-COVID for our kids, because that's when they switched schools, was like right at the end of COVID. I've not been able to figure out how to get to the gym consistently.
Yeah.
And I think, in my mind, if I can have my intern meet me there, it will feel like somewhat work and somewhat like – I don't know, but it's a change that has to happen regardless. Even if I have to start like Cheryl's been going to the gym,
yeah,
and she's like, I'm just gonna be in at 9:30. I'm like, all right, yeah, well, I should just do that. Like, I should stop making excuses, and I should just do that.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I want to put some stuff at my house, because I hate driving all over the place. First off, but secondly, if it's there, I'm more apt to use it. And I don't know. I just hate monthly.
Yeah.
I hate monthly bills, like especially recurring ones.
Yeah.
Like I got rid of all my streaming stuff. I hate it. I hate whenever you get a paycheck and then you just look at your statement and you got all these little nickel and dime charges that just slowly eat away at all your hard work, and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I hate.
I don't hate it enough to cancel my streaming stuff. But we don't have a lot of streaming stuff either.
Yeah.
We did cut a bunch of our streaming stuff at one point. So we're pretty basic.
Yeah, that's all right.
In that regards, but we've got enough.
Well, thank you for listening today. Merry Christmas to you and your family. We hope that you have a wonderful time this Christmas season. Just celebrating each other, celebrating Jesus as he made his return, or his entrance into this world.
You'll get there.
Yeah, I will. Thanks, Scott. We're going to cut this off now, and we're going to get in a fist fight. That would be funny. No, we're not doing
Y'all better
that.
pray for Jared.
I know, dude. He's going to grab me by my little neck and just yee.
Come to church on Sunday.
Yeah, come on. Yes, 9 and 11 this Sunday. It's going to be fantastic. And if you can't make it, you can watch on our YouTube, Southridge Church. Easy way to find us. But we love you all. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week for another episode of the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. Thank you so much for listening in with us today. We really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. You can also watch the video version of this on YouTube as well. All you have to do is search up the Pastor's Potluck Podcast. From all of us here, we want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.